Good evening. Hashem's name will be blessed forever. We want to dedicate this Torah class. We have a very interesting Torah class today. We continue with Jewish customs. We'll deal today about fingernails and about challah, something we discussed before, but we knew with some new material. Be'ezrat Hashem. We dedicated this Torah class for Refuah Shelema, if you want to mention the names. To all the IDF soldiers and all the security forces. May Hashem bring them and the hostages safely home, back home again. Amen. Amen. Okay. So last time, it was I think 2 weeks ago, we talked about the water, how she wash her hands, and who should drink first, you or your pets, your animals, your livestock, and so forth and so on. And now we are going to discuss about the nails. So let me start off with a question. Long nails, fingernails. Yeah, you're checking it right now. Good or bad?
I need him to.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nihya b'dvarav.
Amen. I say not. It depends. Are you a girl or a boy?
Boys.
Depends when you play guitar.
Do you see any indication in the halacha to cut them? There's anything about nails in the halacha?
Yeah, with the coin, you have to have nails long enough and sharp enough so you can do malika.
Which one? The thumb. Right.
And aren't you supposed to?
And who else needs to have a long nail? The mohel.
And aren't you supposed to clean them lekavod Shabbos also?
Clean the lekavod Shabbos, not only for the sake of Shabbat. This is for men. So you're saying no good for men, right? Except you're a kohen serving in the Beit HaMikdash, or you are a mohel. That is, during the process you have to mess with or shochet, correct. What about women? Good or bad? Maybe no for the same reason, yes for the same reasons. What about if they are short but I am putting fake nails? Is that a problem, yes or no? What's the problem?
Well, for a guy,
to begin with? Huh?
For a guy, you'd be wearing women's stuff.
Women's stuff, it's another issue. Okay, I'm talking about a regular person that has. And what's considered long? How we can measure that? And how is that related to any halacha, daily halacha? Can that interrupt with our daily, life, Jewish life?
You have to cut it with mikvah, right? You have to cut it with mikvah.
Solomon saying before mikveh, a woman must make sure that you'll be trimmed, right? What's the reason? Shalom Aleichem. What's the reason?
Separation.
Nefsek. Okay. What about a woman came to the mikveh, she has a very long nail, she didn't cut them. She don't want to cut them. They're pretty clean. So there's a difference between Sephardi and Ashkenazi. You should know that. What if she has on her long nails polish?
Can't have it on. Has to come off.
She has to come off.
On the mikvah.
Also, there's a difference Sephardi Ashkenazi. You should be aware of that. We'll discuss it later, Be'ezrat Hashem. Just to give you an idea what we're dealing with. The next thing we'll talk about, Be'ezrat Hashem, today is about challah. We always learn that challah we should have two. Why not one is not enough? I saw some people have more than two. Why are we having two? What's this halacha comes from? Where do you know any religion in the world that cares about where you break your bread from? You have a pita, you have a hummus, and you eat. Finish. In Judaism, according to the Torah, there's a major difference. And it's important to do so and so. Why? Why we need to break a challah from a certain place? And where is that place? And how to break it? Down, up, who cares? And why? Okay? All this, Be'ezrat Hashem, we will deal today. First, Allah Hamem. צריך להיזהר מחציצה בידיו בשעת נטילה. One needs to be very careful from separation between his fingers to the water that he's using. In which way? In netilah. Okay, forget about mikveh. Okay. Netilat yadayim, something we do a few times a day. So it says watch it, so you won't have a separation. But I don't understand. If my fingernail is a little bit long, it's caused a separation between what to what? So what's the measurement? We've said before that Adam, before the sin, was covered with the same material. After the sin, before the sin, it was the entire body, right? And after the sin, it just narrowed down to the tip of the fingernail. And the chitzonim, the other forces, it says yonkim, they're shocking kedusha out of these places, which in one way it's good, they're meant, this is their job, but when it comes too long, then they are messing up the kedusha that you work so hard to have. So what's the measurement? Bottom line, when it goes over the basar, over the tip, it's time to cut them. Right? It's time to cut them. Right? Not too short, not too long. Everyone should measure, that's too long. That's too long. It's over. It's over the tip.
Which broke off is okay.
Yeah, we can help you breaking the other one. We can ask the Cohen brothers.
Yeah, right. The mafia. I'll use a family board. Thank you. I have to keep them short anyway when I play.
What if there's a specific purpose that you're using it for?
Okay? So hold on. Shekol hachotzetz b'tvilah, chotzetz b'netilah. Anything that makes the separation for tvilah, for dipping in the mikveh, it's also equal to netilat yadayim. Same rules. If you have paint on your hands, if your hand has dirt, it's better that you wash it with soap and then wash your hands. Make sure fingers not too long, and if they have some dirt under it, which most people have, during the day you're messing up with whatever you're messing up. So you have to clean it before netilat yadayim. That's the one. Mohalim, those who are the mohel and the shochet, they used to grow these fingernails for the sake of a mitzvah. So for them it's okay. The mitzvah will protect them, but they need to be extra careful to clean up under the fingernails. מה שגדולים ועודפים על הבשר. עודפים means over the tip. כי הלכלוך במקום זה חוצץ, because the dirt make the separation. אך מה שנגד הבשר, all of that, there's no problem.
Can you clean on Shabbos?
And if you what? Break on Shabbat?
Can you clean your nails on Shabbos?
Clean on Shabbat, there's no problem. The problem is, what do you do if you want to cut your fingernails on Shabbat? You can, but in what if one was broke? One fingernail broke and it's bothering you. Anything you touch, you ruin the clothing, you ruin the tie, you ruin everything. So what do, Don?
Bite it.
You bite it. That's the trick.
On Shabbos, you have no choice.
What if it's like a...
Like you did in school. You bite it and you spit it on your neighbor.
What if it's like a hangnail? What if it's not quite the nail, but it's like next to it?
If it's hanging,
If it's bothering you, you can. If not, just leave it.
I mean,
Is there some couple reasons why we want them at a certain length?
Why?
Why it shouldn't
If
be
you're a
longer,
girl,
or
if you're a girl.
why it shouldn't be longer, or why?
So I just mentioned that, and let me answer the question. Answer your question. The answer is, if it gets longer than the tip of the finger, the chitzonim dwell on it and they grow with it. Okay, and I tell you another thing. It says in Kabbalah, and it says also in the Gemara, that when whoever trim his fingernails, must, we learned that, right? Burn it. Burn it as a chassid, destroy it, bury it as a tzaddik, just throwing it on the floor is a rasha. What's the big deal in throwing it on the floor? It says, among other things, if a pregnant woman will pass by, goes over it, it will harm the baby, it will affect the baby. And what's the reason? It says, let me give you the source. Hagaon Ariach Hatov Alav Shalom says, the reason that they are mezikim, how do you say mezikim? No. Damage, thank you. Damage the infants, the babies in their mother's womb. She'arei tzipurnayim, because the tzipurnayim parot veravot. What's parot veravot? They grow. Pruvu means multiplying, but they're not multiplying, they grow. Okay? Parot veravot. V'lachen, this is why we are looking at one of the reasons we're looking at the fingernails on Havdalah. It's a symbol of growing. Okay, and this is what we want to have during the week. To grow in parnasah, in like health, all the good things. We want them to grow. Okay? And it says, V'lachen, therefore, so on Motzi Shabbos is Siman Tov, and during the week, okay, V'lachen mezikim lema'uberet mido keneged mido. So the baby grows, right? And fingernails also grows. The multiplied grows. So Mida keneged mida. You do something like that, it will hurt someone that grows.
What about hair also grows?
Oh, hair, it has no problems of chitzonim. Chitzonim goes to the fingernails, and it's related to the Adam sins.
I see, but not hair.
Not hair.
Okay.
Yes.
Regarding the Netilat Yadayim, what about things like nail polish and acrylic nails? What does that look like?
Okay, for Netilat Yadayim, our sages didn't, they're not so strict about it for Netilat Yadayim, but for mikveh, especially for Ashkenazim, and also Sfaradim, the halacha says, bottom line, you cannot have polish. But, we're living today in a different generation, and it depends on the balanit. What do you call the balanit, the woman that is in charge there? Attendant. She needs to know the halacha pretty good. And for some, if you start to argue with them and tell them to take off the polish, they won't come back. So it's too much, it's a headache, it costs me a lot, I like it that way. They don't come. This is a crazy generation today. So we can be lenient, okay? Just make sure that it's clear, especially when the polish is attached to the fingernail really, really strong. If it's strong and it's attached, we let them do the tevilah that way. But with the Netilat Yadayim, we don't ask them to take the polish off. We're not so strict about that. Okay. Next, any questions? Someone wants to ask? Yes.
I have a question about, what if a lady goes to a nail salon and they're cutting her nails? So does she need to say, okay, take all the clippings and give them back to me? Is that what they should do?
Well, I didn't think about that, but you may ask her what they will do with that. They're probably going to tell you the trashing it. If the trashing is good enough.
Oh, okay. Sure
They definitely not trying it on the floor.
No. I'm sure they
Yeah, so.
I haven't been forever.
Yeah, but someone does it to you, someone does for you at home, someone comes privately to do the service, you make sure that they're taking it, yeah.
One more question.
Yes.
Do we need to take care with children's fingernails? Because
Absolutely, because the chitzonim sholtim, they have power over these through these fingernails. It doesn't matter if a man or woman. So that answers the question if women need to cut their fingernails as well. So the answer is yes. They have to worry about that. So the fake sounds like a good solution, right?
Right.
It just can cause a problem, when they grow under.
That was
So what are you going to do?
That was my question. If I have them, if they're like cut very short, and then it's a fake nail.
So
that's
that's a problem. It's a problem. I'm just giving you the recommendation. Everyone can do whatever they want. Just telling you, it's a cause of many other problems, and we'll see later what problem it brings to one, to his house. It can cause depression and anxiety. When the chitzonim have control over you, then they're in control, and it brings a lot of problems. So it's not recommended to stay with it. Yes.
Also, I recall learning when I first started doing that you're supposed to do the water at least up to the wrist.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And also, what about emery board filing versus clipping? Use, an emery nail file with has sandpaper, and
You can use all that. Just make sure the fingernails are not too long.
But I mean, as far as
What do you do with the shaving?
the little.
Oh, with the shaving?
The little,
Same. Shaving, same. Make sure all this dust
So do
goes
it
to
over
the
like
restroom or
Kleenex
something
and then
like
throw
that.
away.
Toilet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or down the hatch. Okay.
Look at this. The Zohar HaKadosh, you can check it out in Parashat Achremot, page Samech, Amud Bet, wrote, there is 1,000 veribo revavot shel kochot tumah. There's thousands, millions, if I multiply all the numbers they brought here, millions of powers of tumah powers, comes down to the world, and shorim, there dwell over al zuhamat atzipornaim agdolot. The Zohar says that they dwell on the long fingernails, on the filth that is under it, and on the fingernails. Okay. Mine yetum'ah. I'm sorry. V'chatav on, and the Zohar says also 24 kind of minim of tum'ah. The nachash, the serpent, brought on Chava. Keminyan, it's like the numerical value of ve'eiva. Ve'eiva means when Hashem says one of the punishments that Adam got, and Chava and Eve and the serpent, he put between us and the serpent hatred, something that's called Eiva. We just read it this by the Shabbat, right? You look it up, you see it says Eiva, and Eiva is hinted to the 24 kind of tumah that the Nachash brought over Chava, over Eve. Ve'agozez tzipornaim, the Zohar says, the one that makes sure to trim his fingernails, me'orer chesed ba'olam, is awakening and bringing a lot of kindness to the world. See, again, we are doing something private in our own private domain, and affects not only us but the world, the whole world. Adkan. Another thing that I could not find, maybe you'll be able to, I couldn't find the source for it or the translation for it. The Kolbe wrote that if one grow his fingernails, it will bring over him the holy that called padegorna. I could not find what does that mean. I really searched for it, and I could not. Padegorna or padegorona or maybe corona. I don't know. It says padegorna. I tried Latin. I tried English. I tried Hebrew. I could not find. Well, anybody bring some sort of sickness. Okay, and it says. בספר קו הישר he wrote 1,450 כוחות חיצוניים. He says 1,450 powers of חיצוניים, very bad powers. They are hanging on and sucking from the woman's fingers, nails, and the day she has her time of nida. This is why she need to cut them before she goes to the mikveh. It remains with her. Okay, one of the greatest tum'ot in the Jewish literature, the Jewish halacha, is the nida. Okay. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the water. Okay, so we mentioned that we have to make sure our hands are clean. We're doing nitilat yadayim. It says in the Tractate Sotah, page Daled Amud Bet, איתו. It says, I'm reading from here. ייזהר להגביה ידיו מיד אחר הנטילה עד הניגוב. This is something not everyone pay attention to. Usually when people do, they wash their hands and they dry them and they go to say hamotzi, right? But the Zohar says you have to be careful. And I'm going to give you a quick and easy solution for that. After you wash your hands, you have to lift the hands. I don't know if you saw ever people who walk like that, and they do that, okay? Why? Because if the water will reach out this area and comes back, it makes it impure again. Same if it happens all the time, you wash your hands in the shul, or there's a lot of participant in the meal, you're doing your way to your receipts, and on the way someone sees you say, hey, Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. And he shakes your hand, and he didn't wash his hands. What are you going to do now?
Rewash.
Huh?
But no blessing.
You didn't dry your hands yet. Halacha is, by the way, you have to go back and rewash.
Do you say a blessing?
It's before the blessing.
Okay. You haven't dried your hands. Oh, because I haven't dried them yet. Okay, sorry. It happens so fast. It's right there.
So that's about that. So what do we do? The idea is you wash your hands, you lift them, you say bracha, not over the head, remember, just up to here. You say Baruch atah Hashem al netilas yadayim, and then you dry them with towel or whatever. So there's a lot of discussion here, how to raise it, what to do it, how close you need to be to the towel, and all these great, wonderful ideas. And I found a really quick solution. One of the commentators says that if you wash your hands every time you wash, every time you spill water, it's over a revi'it, you don't have to worry about it. A revi'it is 3 ounces, less than 3 ounces. It's a really small amount. Can I use this? How much is this? This is 12. So revi'it will be up to here, something like that. Less that amount. So just make sure to use a big cup and use just enough water, and that's it. You're good. You don't even have to raise the hand because the revi'it covers everything, and you can do a little bit more than it's necessary. So all is good, and this is the easiest solution. Okay? Okay, any questions on that? If you do that, you don't even have to raise the hands.
Just a little bit ago about the 4 times.
The what?
I'm recalling you mentioned briefly on you do it 4 times rather than 3.
Correct.
So we didn't really get into why that was.
For that reason. That's the reason. Yes. So even if you do that, in the morning, how many times you wash the hands? 3 times, but how you say it? Not consecutive, right? Alternate way. Okay. So, in which point they become pure completely? When you dry them. You have to remove the less part of the water that remains on the hand, the residues. But if you do 4 times, the 4th time clear that 3rd time that you need to dry. And then you're good. So if you do 4 and 5 and 6, it's good. That's the idea.
So there's no papers at the...
Like drying available.
Okay.
Amazing.
We don't there's no papers.
There's a lot of reasons to what we're saying, why one needs to raise the hand and raise them when you do the bracha. Just a really quick one. It says in the Zohar that the 10 fingers represent the 10 sfirot. And in order to open liftoach ha'ma'ayan, in order to open this well of bracha, okay, it's like a spring of water or a well that you draw water, okay. It says lehamshicha or mimakor hakol. In order to connect to that light, this is what we do. We're washing and raising our hands, and at that time that we do that, we are like a magnet to that light that the neshama feels that power. Okay, obviously, if you didn't do it and you wash the hands, you fulfill the mitzvah. As I mentioned before, people always wonder why I have to go through all these little things in the halacha. You told me to wash, let me wash, and I do. And I make bracha over them. Raise the hand, more water, make sure to move the fingers. So, the answer we say to this taina is there is levels, there's a dargot, in fulfilling a mitzvah. And you'll get a reward accordingly. Okay, so someone that is a chassid, he cares about the little things. So he wants to gain a great mitzvah in its highest level. And he's doing it with a simcha, with a joy, it's extra. So they care about these little things. And we try to mention little things that are easy to do anyways. It's not too much of a trouble. So why not? So a medakdekim, I don't know how I said them, medakdekim, those that are strict, those who cares about these little things, will gain a greater and higher level of a mitzvah. It could be two people, both of them washing hands, one will get a mitzvah 10 times greater than the other guy. Because he's makpid with these little things, that's it. There's another thing that I don't want to go through all that, it's really long. When I read that, I remember my rabbis in the yeshiva, they used to do that all the time. When they wash their hands, they always do that. They put the arms together. And it's related to a pasuk from Isaiah. It also brings bracha. Bottom line, the best way is when you wash the hands, don't go like that. Just put them together, attach to your body, and say the bracha. Okay, it's a lot of psukim here that I don't think we'll have a time to go through it right now. But the zroot, the arms should be together close as one unit. Okay. It says in the Talmud, Yerushalmi, Tractate Chala, 10 mitzvot adam oseh ad shelo tochal prusa. Before one can put a bread in his mouth, you should know that there is 10 mitzvot are combined together with this mitzvah. And there's a lot of work before one can have a bread. One of the mitzvah is lo tachrosh, ve'lo tizra, ve'bal tachsom, ve'leket, and shicha, and peah, and truma, and meiser rishon, meiser sheni, ve'chale. There's a 10 mitzvot related to preparing a bread. This is why the beracha, how many words we have in Hamotzi Lechem Min Haaretz? 10? Yes. Some people like to count people from minyan like that. They're saying Baruch Atah Hashem, Baruch Atah Hashem. I'm sorry. Baruch Atah Hashem, Hamotzi Lechem Min Haaretz. Yes, we are 10. Okay, so this 10, it's related to that mitzvah. Let me ask you a question. You're doing Hamotzi Lechem Min Haaretz. You have a bread. Okay? There's someone open. You have a bread. Alright? Now someone open. How one should hold the bread? Both hands, one hand is good enough. What's the reason we have to hold them two hands? So the halacha says, Kodem shemvarech hamotzi, before one's do hamotzi, over the bread, he needs to put both hands, 5 fingers, 10 fingers all together, right? 5 and 5 is 10? Let's make it sure. Both way? In Dallas it is. In Dallas it is, okay? And he has to hold the bread till he finishes the bracha. Okay? Yivtza biyamin, break the bread in the right hand and put in his mouth. And have to have in mind that the 10 fingers are corresponding to the 10 mitzvot. And the 10 melachot that a person does till he can eat a bread. And he ends with saying, Veyesh badavar, and there is in this idea. Sod Ne'elam. What is Sod? Secret. Ne'elam, hidden secret. In the commentary, they try to share some ideas. So, for example, the bracha have 10 teivot, 10 words. It says, Mi mana afar Yaakov, kama mitzvot. So many mitzvot we do and we don't even notice. Why? Even the simplest person, never study in the yeshiva, doesn't go to a kollel, and then he can just hold the bread and say the bracha, he gained immediately 10 mitzvot. It take him 3 seconds. Because you'll get a mitzvah for every word of the bracha. Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Amotzi Lechem Min Haaretz. 10 mitzvot. It says even Hediot Sheba Hediot, the most simple person. Okay, he doesn't eat a bread before he already made 10 mitzvot. Okay, and if you do with the fingers and the right way, he will gain an extra mitzvot. So by doing that, the fingers will, can't say talk, but it says here, melamdim alav sanegoria, represent them good in Shamayim, in a way that he is going to be protected by doing something like we just mentioned. Like one says, God, I don't eat before I'm holding it the right way and I'm saying bracha before you. So one will get a blessing from Shamayim for recognizing that. Okay. Any questions?
I have a question. What about the people who are Yotzi to this bracha? Do they get a mitzvah of any sort?
They are part of the mitzvah by listening. You're talking about the one that say Amotzi?
Yeah, when says Amotzi and then you're Yotzi there, the bracha.
You have the mitzvah by listening to it. Obviously, the one that says the bracha had the greatest mitzvah. Problem starts with someone that is invited to a place that is not sure if the host knows anything about these things that we just. He knows to say Amotzi Lechem Min Haaretz. Sometimes he stutters. Sometimes he said, "I'm sorry, the wrong way." What you can do in order to fulfill the mitzvah in a proper way. We've learned that we have to separate the words, right? Otherwise, you're missing letters. And it's very common to people to say, Motzi Lechem Min Haaretz. They're missing one mem. Right? It's proper to say, Motzi Lechem Min Haaretz. But most people don't do that. Test me. Check it out next time you'll be invited. Of course, I'm not some people in our class. They already know how to do it. There's no question about that. But any other place, you see, rabbis, great rabbis, they don't makpid on that. I'm sorry to say that. It's a fact. So one wants to do it the proper way. So not usually, sometimes the host will ask you, do you want to do kiddush for yourself? Do you want to do a motzi for yourself? What will you usually answer? No, it's good, do it, right? Why are we saying that? We don't want to offend them, right? Your bracha is good enough for me, right?
They aren't doing it correctly.
So there's a trick to do that the halacha suggests. How if he stutters, if he doesn't say the words properly for a motzi, he's probably messing up with the kiddush. So what we can do is just to ask for a little grape juice or wine to hold. Says my minhag is just to hold when you say the bracha, and you say it yourself quietly, so he won't notice. Same with the bread. If you can't, there's only 2 challahs. You don't have bread in front of you. You don't have it. I'm talking about in places that you have the opportunity. You can take bread and do the bracha yourself. Yes.
Well, just a quick question about the kiddush is if the person is stuttering or mispronouncing most of the kiddush, but he comes to the final line, who says Borei Priyagat correctly. Is that enough?
No, I have to say kiddush.
Okay, so
for example, you know why we're standing? Are you standing in the kiddush?
well, Well, we stamp the first part. We said it.
At night you're standing, in the morning you're sitting, or you both?
Same.
Huh?
Stand at night, sit at morning.
What's the reason, by the way?
Because at night you're testifying.
Oh, you're testifying. So, like Adim need to testify. So you didn't testify. Just say Baruch Gefen. You have to testify on Friday.
He tried, but he failed.
Right. So it's better to do it yourself. I
Next
know.
time you want to do it yourself.
And what if you're not offered?
If you don't want to.
You know, these things can happen within our own family. The father, if a father that doesn't know how to do it properly, you don't want to insult the father or your son or whatever. So there's a way to say without insulting anybody. And if you can't, just say with him, looking at what he's holding.
Yeah.
Looking at his kavana as if you're holding it. Say the bracha with you. And wait till it gets the wine to you or the bread. That's what we've learned. It raised some questions in some people customs. For example, we said "Amotzi lecha min haaretz." As soon as you finish haaretz, what do you need to do to break the bread? You probably saw in some houses they don't break the bread. What they do? They cut it. So that might be a problem because it's an hefsek. Some has the custom to cut before they say the bracha, and some says, according to Kabbalah, it's a not good thing. It's not good things to do because you have to say bracha over something that is complete shalem, and now when you cut it, it's not shalem.
So why are they making?
So they're making a mark where they want to cut it from.
Is that okay?
It's okay for them, maybe. We don't have that custom. We like to wait and to break and eat and then to pass on more bread. You can have a hefsek after you say bracha. You have to do the actions immediately, right? Bore pri ha'etz, you bite. She'akol niya bidvaro, and get a drink. Imagine it says she'akol niya bidvaro. I'm pouring it out, drinking. It's a hefsek. So what's the difference? You tell me what's the difference. Amotzi lechem min haaretz. You separate it and you make nice cubes out of it. It's a hefsek, no? You got to eat it immediately. So the trick is, amotzi lechem min haaretz, break it, and then cut it. Let them suffer, you know? And look at it. And that's it.
I noticed people that do cut, often they'll cut, and the first piece they cut off, they let it fall, and then they cut the second piece, and then they take from that. They don't eat from the first piece they cut. At the end of the cut.
There's inyan. We'll explain that because according to Kabbalah, you need to break two pieces. One for you, one for the wife. You kazait, she kabetza. A little bit bigger. But we get into it, okay? Just be patient. But it doesn't really matter which one you take. You just take one and eat. It has to be over le'asiyato. When you get to a place that it's become a question, if it's hefsek or not hefsek, it's a big problem in halacha. You should say the bracha again, not to say the bracha again. Hefsek is a big problem in halacha. Okay? Only on certain things we can have an hefsek if it's emergency. Other than that, it raises a lot of questions.
And there are some people that they cut the whole column before they eat
Hmm?
any. They cut the whole column before they eat any.
They cut the whole challah?
And then they eat.
Well, then that's a problem from what we see. Okay, do we have to have 2 challahs during the week, or it's only for Shabbat?
Because of the
Why we have a Shabbat?
man.
The man, you have the lechem mishneh. Okay. So during the week, we're good enough with one pita, right, or one whole bread. Or what if I have a half a pita or a pita? Which one I should go with? The whole. Okay.
From a loaf of bread, you can eat a slice, right? A whole slice. Like if you have a slice, like a loaf of bread.
Like sandwich bread.
Like you're eating a sandwich.
Ma?
Like sandwich bread.
Oh, that's what you have, a sandwich. It's a sandwich. That's it.
Then it's okay if it's sliced because
You have it sliced.
yeah.
So that's what you have.
Yeah.
Okay? It's better to have a bracha over a complete thing, and then you can eat the sandwich. All right? But if you have only sandwiches, so that's what you have. It is what it is. Okay. I don't know if you noticed, but what time is davening? 6:20?
6:20.
Okay, 10 more minutes. B'ezrat Hashem. I don't know if you noticed that, but let me ask that. Let me ask this. So you do on the night kiddush by standing because you're testifying. Okay? Yom HaShishi v'yechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam. We're testifying that Hashem created the world. And then when we finish the bracha, what do? We sit or we drink while we're standing?
We sit.
You sit. It seems like everyone's sitting and then they're drinking. Okay? What's the reason? Can I drink while I'm standing? But you notice that everybody's sitting and then they're drinking. There's a reason for it, huh? Proper manners. It's true. It's true. It's true. But
someone a Talmud eating while he's walking, or drinking or eating while he's walking, that is a behemoth.
correct. So this is our next halacha, and we'll bring some sources why one has always need to sit, either when drinking or eating. I raised a question about a kiddush that you have these tables, round tables, are meant to have, taking from the buffet, standing around this table and eating. We learned it's not appropriate to do. I didn't learn that, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not appropriate things to do because drinking and eating should be always when we seated. So it's the halacha says, ישב במקומו הקבוע לו לסעודתו ויברך ברכת המוציא. One need to sit in his seats to סעודה and say the ברכה המוציא. The ברכת המוציא you should not say it while walking or standing. The ברכות כוונו בעינן, meaning how you concentrate better, when you're walking or you're sitting. So it would be more appropriate to sit. Right? וכן שמברך לפתור את בני הבית ימתין להם עד שישבו. So, the halacha says you have to wait for everybody around the table to sit and have to finish saying Amen. Okay, now you can drink. Okay, not everybody is saying it together. וכן משורת דרך ארץ, manners, דאכילה תהיה מיושב. Like you mentioned, it's manners. One should never stand and eat. Umor Avi, he says about his father, Rabbi Mutzafi, he was a great Mekubal, that even drinking water, just drinking water, you should say bracha, sit, and drink.
So if we're at Kiddush, at Shul, and we're standing eating, is that not derek?
You can take from the buffet and have a seat.
What about everybody stands except for the one who's doing the bracha on the Ashkal. You're there. Rabbi Fried or whoever's sitting, everybody else is standing up and then takes the drink.
There are no seats around the.
That's what I'm saying. There's no seats right there.
No, do you notice some of the people are sitting at the table?
They take their little thing and take it to the table. I didn't know that.
Okay.
So the
You can.
So why do they
sages are
do that? If it's not proper?
The Chachamim are debate about drinking. If the halacha is to sit while you're saying the bracha, then sit and you continue drinking, you can walk, which means you have a bottle of water. You're in the gym. Every time you want to drink, you have to sit. That's the best way. But at least they're saying, when you're saying the bracha, sit, drink, and then after that, it can be lenient. Okay, so the one that said the bracha, you probably said, and then you do lechaim, you can do standing because the bracha was already made.
So
you can be lenient on that.
If I'm going to someone's
researchers said, I'm sorry.
If I'm going to someone's house and they say we have a custom to stand for Kiddush.
You haven't happened before?
Yes, many times.
You have a custom to stand?
Yes.
That's what they say.
Yes.
They declared we have a custom to stand.
Yes.
Okay.
And What would be derech eretz? To
You have
not insult my host?
Exactly.
Or-
You stand and you drink.
Okay.
Whatever the
And but what they're saying is saying and doing is not derech eretz. Is that what?
No.
I don't judge them. I
No.
just
Okay.
Research also says that, I read it today, eating standing is not good for the digestive system.
Right.
That you eat it faster and more air comes in and digest food faster. When you digest the food faster,
And if you're walking.
the body can get really all the nutrition and the vitamins. And there's much more to it. Okay?
May I ask you, going
Okay,
back-
2 more minutes.
may I
Are we
ask you
done? Yes.
something about- I'm still a little confused going back to hand washing. If may I ask? When do you do twice on each side?
I'll tell you after class. Okay, really quickly. One more thing before we leave. It's where to break the bread. So we've learned that where's the best place to break the bread? Remember? Anybody remember?
On the right?
On the right side, you're saying?
You said.
You have 2 challahs. So at night, we're taking from the bottom one, and in the morning, we're taking from the top one. If you did the opposite, it's okay. You fulfill the mitzvah. This is according to Kabbalah. Now, where to break? You have a challah. Front, up, down. The Ramah talks about it. He gives instruction, the halacha, where to cut from. Who cares? Why is it so important? You have any idea? So let me remind you. The Talmud in Tractate of Sanhedrin, page Amud Kufbet Amud Aleph at 102a, brings a story about Rav Ashi that was teaching his student and says, tomorrow we are going to share stories about our friends Menashe. And he meant to Menashe, which Menashe? The king, King Menashe. King Menashe, we know the story, what happened with him, the horrible things he did. He was a king over Israel for 55 years, and he did teshuvah over 30 years. And there is a debate in the Talmud if Hashem accepted his teshuvah. Yes, no, yes. Anyways, that night, Rav Ashi went to sleep, and who came to visit him? Menashe, in a dream. And he said, Rav Ashi was the Gadol Ador, right? He says to him, Rav Ashi, am I a friend of yours or your father? Chavra dilach or chavra de'avu chana? He says in Aramaic, am I your friends or your father's friends? You call me in the class, we're going to discuss our friends Menashe? Since when we are friends? He says, he didn't say anything, and then Menashe asked him a question. Rav Ashi brought the whole story to the class later on. And he says, if you're so smart, tell me where you break the breads before you do hamotzi. Menashe the king bothered to ask him that question. So Rav Ashi says, there's a special place to break from. So you see, these simple little things that everybody knows, you don't know. And you call me a friend. So he said to him, okay, so tell me, teach me. And all these conversations in a dream. I said, I'll teach you. He says, B'makom dekarim bishula, from the place that is most baked. Right? So you have a challah, you see different colors. Most baked, this is the covered of the challah. And I was looking for another reason for years. I saw it today. Because what's the big deal? Anyways, Rav Ashi came back to the class and he shared with them that information and he taught them and he apologized. It's a covered of a king, regardless of what he had. Even Pharaoh got covered for Moshe and Aaron. And he shared that to halacha, and ever since we are makpid to have it from the place that is most baked. And I saw a very interesting thing that I was not aware of. I just know that we got to do it because it's the place that looks most baked. So it's for the honor of the bracha. This is the part. But today I found a beautiful answer that is really from the Kabbalah. It says, very interesting. It says, "De'amakom sheshalat bo ha'esh yoter, the place that the fire, the heat, control more. You see it, it's more baked, right? Vikdim lidbashel rishon. This is the part when the challah was baked more. Nitgarsha mimenu ta'arovet chelat zumat anachash advuka bo biyoto zarua ba'adama. Meaning, in everything we have good and bad, right? It's balance in the world. And when we are taking the dough and we're baking it, at some point the zuhama, the filth of the nachash, leaves. The other power leaves that bread. And where and which part of the bread this filth of the nachash, the serpent, left first? When it's most baked. So it was leaving that part first. This is why we are breaking the bread from that part. You get what I'm saying, the idea? Shnayim v'shlosha regaim kodem shaka. It happened a few seconds or a few minutes before the other parts of the bread. So this part gets the kavod, to be the honor, to be break first. Tell me which nation discuss such things, where to break them. So I just want to tell you, this is easy things to do. You're breaking the bread anyways. So why not to gain a greater mitzvah for Olam Haba? Any questions? I want to say Toda Rabba to the Goldstein family. They're opening the house. Hashem give you parnasa. Hashem give you bracha, nachas from all your children. Thank you for the kibbutz, for the church. May Hashem bless all the participants here in the Zoom, all those watching us. That will be Be'ezrat Hashem in good health and great parnasa all the time. Joy and shalom bayit in our house. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.